everyone. So today we're going to be doing a mini review of the Xtool M1. This is my 10-watt unit. I've had this one for about 6 months now, and I have logged over 75 hours of use, about 160 hours of standby time on it. I've cut everything from wood to plexiglass that's not clear, can't do acrylic, it's diode laser. I have cut PVA foam, I've cut newspapers, I've cut vinyl, I have engraved steel business cards, I have made tumblers, I have made, let's see here, made cutting boards, I have made a lot of wood stuff. So I've done pretty much everything that I could have with this particular laser. And I hope to offer some insight about said laser, because a lot of the reviews out there you see, someone's getting the free laser, they use it for an hour or two and then they go, great laser, perfect. Yeah, no, I've bought it with my own money. I bought the riser bed, I bought the honeycomb in there, I bought the air assist, I bought the RA4 or R4A or whatever for the tumblers where it spins, paid for that my own money. I've used this thing for 75 hours, so not paid, not sponsored, paid for everything myself. Let me explain what I love about it, what it does great, and what it sucks about. Here we have the screen where you can see that I have in fact used it almost 75 hours with 158 hours of standby time, operated it almost 2,200 times. So I know a thing or two about this thing. So my machine in particular has been extensively modified, I'll say. Here we have the machine. I have the Xtool honeycomb plate. I have these wires which run over to my air pump right here so that I have air assist. As you can hear, air assist. And then I have this riser panel which allows you to use the air assist, and when we lift this up, we can see that we can in fact have a few different levels for different thicknesses, and then there's that base plate on the bottom. Here we go. As you can see with my machine, I have taped all around the machine here. What that allows me to do is virtually have a smell-proof cutting area. I also, underneath the machine, all around every single corner, I have put this AC, air conditioning, like foam. So my whole machine has a tight seal even back there where we have this plate. In addition, anytime I'm cutting, I just stick some painter's tape up above here, tape this off so that it is pretty sealed off. As you've seen from the reviews, they give you the hose, and you're supposed to vent it out a window. If you don't seal up your machine here, you're still going to get air everywhere because there's a pretty big gap where it sits on this thing, this base plate here. What a ripoff. It's just 4 pieces of plastic, super flimsy. That sucks. But when you seal it up, it's practically sealed depending on what surface you have. And underneath the bottom of this base here, I also have that same foam. It's a lot thinner foam, but it's still under there to seal in as much as I can. Additionally, when I'm using this in my garage, so I have this hose, which as we follow the hose, comes up, and then right over here, as marked by the arrows, I have a fan. So whenever I'm doing any sort of laser cutting, laser burning, anything that uses the laser, I plug in my fan, which as we follow the hose, we see the hose vents outside. Additionally, the seal is so good that when I have my fan on, it is able to spin this fan inside the actual Xtool. So that way, it is always pulling some sort of fumes out, to the point where this glass will actually flex because of the negative pressure that it's pulling. However, not a problem. Works really, really good. Never have fumes or any smells inside the garage because of that. So here we have it. We're going to be cutting something with the Xtool. So now I'm going to turn on the air assist. I'm going to turn on my magical fan here. You can hear that spinning up. And then we start. We can see the fan. It's right over here. It's pulling all this air and soot out. So here we have a little project I cut out. Now this is I believe it's 5 mil thick, like sort of plywood. And here is the project that I cut out. This is all 100% power. This was the cutting thing instead of the engraving, scoring the little outline. As we can see, it works kind of good. If I wanted to, I could decrease the speed and it would cut all the way through. But I thought it was 4 mil and set my settings for 4 instead of 5 mil, so that's why I didn't cut all the way through. Looks pretty good. Cut it in under 2 minutes for this small little thing. Now we're going to be cutting that same old hedgehog. This is going to be 4 mil acrylic, I believe 1/8 inch, if that's 4 or 3 or something like that. Here we go. So here we go. There is our Xtool hedgehog, completely cut out and engraved, exactly like it was out of wood. This took 2 passes just because I messed up the settings a little bit, but fully cut out. Once you buff them off on a nice microfiber, you can see how shiny he is. There you go. Cuts acrylic fairly well. So that's just basically what this laser can do. It can do more, obviously. Wouldn't be able to show you it cutting everything, but here's what I've done in the past. This is just a piece of wood that's been laser engraved. We've also done some test cutting boards. Quite a few of these coasters. Also done these signs. As you can see, this one right here. So this laser is really capable. There's not that many downsides. Certainly not the software. The software Everyone likes to say, oh, well, this laser doesn't really work with light burn. Light burn doesn't work. Well, guess what? It does like 98% of things just fine. I haven't felt the need to ever use light burn in the past. The XCS, the Xtool Creative Space, works really, really well. It does almost everything you can throw at it fairly good. It is wireless, so I'm controlling it with my laptop here. I've been able to use it with my phone, so I can laser burn or engrave or something with my phone if I don't have my computer with or battery dies or something. Works wired, wirelessly. That's great. Yeah, software, don't really have any issues with it. The only problem that I have is for vectors. You can draw your own vectors and whatnot. Only issue is you can only do lines. Great, cool. If you want to do a curve, well, you're gonna have to dot lines to make a curve. You can't just do an arc or something. That doesn't work. So you just have to use like Illustrator or something online to make those curves. That's an issue. This laser also does come with a camera. The camera is located right here in the middle. It is a wide angle lens. And what do we know about wide angle lenses? We have distortion. So what you see on the screen is not 100% accurate on the laser. It can be off by as much as 2 millimeters. Very important if you want something square and true, because it is not square and true. It is off by 2 mil. So when you look at something like, say, this thing right here, when you look at this coaster, you can see that it is not indeed square. It is leaning more to this side than that side. Why? Because I use the camera. Which also brings up a great point. The tracing mode, that I'm going to call it, or the framing mode, that's what Xtool calls it. You can indeed show what you're going to be engraving on there. It does not trace it. It puts a big box around it. So if you have intricate details, it won't like trace out what you're going to engrave. It's going to give you a box, and it's going to be box in the area where something's in there. Great, I have a box, but I don't know exactly where that thing is that I'm engraving. I've had multiple times where you're like, oh, well, it's within the box, and then it's offset, or if it's wrong, or it's just annoying. That's about one of the few complaints I have about the camera and the framing. However, on your phone, for some reason, when you use the phone, it will trace it out, but not on the computer. Which, whatever, it's fine, it's fine. An example, we see that there is a cow right over here. So let's say hypothetically that I am going to engrave this cow. Let's see if we can change the cow to something else. So I got this blue, that's a good color. So I got this cow right here. And as we can see on the thing I'm engraving, there's a white dot. Cool. So let's say I want to make sure that the circles in the cow are going to be over this white blob. So I'm going to go to my framing, and then we're going to go over to the laser here, and then we watch as the laser shows me exactly where it's going to land, right? No, I have a box. So for those that didn't see it, we're going to up my light power as high as it goes just to make a demonstration. Okay, let's frame it, right? Let's see exactly where that's going to land. Well, when we saw it, all we saw was a box. We didn't see exactly where the cow is, we didn't see anything. All we saw is the box. Cool. I see the general area, I don't know where it's gonna land. Yeah, that's one of the gripes. So with the software, that's just a few things that can be fixed in software, you know, like they always say, not a laser problem, which is great. If you're going to be getting yourself an Xtool M1, always buy the 10 watt. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So 10 watts is what you want. You don't want the measly 5 watt. You're not going to be able to do anything. That being said, 10 watts for this laser is not enough. Like, it took about 25 minutes to engrave something like this, to engrave it pretty dark. So just know, you gotta set your expectations real. If you're getting this laser, you're not gonna be able to, you know, cut your own coasters. You're not gonna be able to cut super thick stuff. I'd probably say a 1/4 inch like plywood. It's probably going to be the maximum you'll be able to cut. So what I have here is a sample test thing that I found from a guy named Samcraft. He makes these templates, which you can make in Xtool for free now, but this is back when I got the laser. So every material that I get, I make myself these tests so I can see what speed and what power I need to cut a certain depth, to see what I can cut through, right? So you can see what settings I need to cut through this plastic for what I can cut through this wood here. It's just different tests, so that way I know what settings I need to have. Like, oh, looks like I lied. You actually can't cut through 1/4. Looks like the most this laser for hardwood can handle is 1/8. At max, let's see if you can see that. At your maximum settings of 100% power and about 10 millimeters per second, you can cut through 1/8 hardwood. 1/4 you're not cutting through. You can engrave 1/4, but you can't cut through that. So when you're getting this laser, you definitely want to make sure that you don't want to think this laser is going to do it all, because you're going to be really disappointed, like I was, because I thought it could cut through some pretty thick wood, but it can't. About 1/4 is as thick as you go, so you kind of have to lower your expectations a little bit, change your plans. Some of the things it can't engrave: clear acrylic. I believe it struggles with white, and it also struggles with blue acrylic, but it can cut black, which is all I've been cutting with it. Some say you can cut red. I haven't cut anything red. I've also used this for cutting through fabric, which I absolutely would not recommend unless you're routing your air outside, because this stuff smells so bad, stinks up the whole room, chokes you with the smoke. But you can cut fabric. Like, I've been getting fabric from JCPenney for some projects, like making a wallet and things like that. That you can get from JCPenney, or not JCPenney. So when you're buying this laser, you know, you want something cheap, something that will work. This laser, fairly cheap, under $1,000, maybe cheaper if you can get it used. Now, what you get with the laser is basically the laser, and you can buy some legs to extend it, and then put your base plate underneath to have more working room. Let me tell you, you're not going to be able to do that. That is unrealistic, and that sucks, because you have, I believe it's 10 millimeters. So if you want to engrave these coasters, you can use the base plate, no problem. You want to engrave 2 coasters, it's too thick. You got to take your base plate off, unscrew it, stick it underneath, put it on the legs, put this on some sort of spacer to engrave it. Ridiculous. You're never going to be able to do that. consistently. If you're welding, or if you're laser cutting, laser engraving one type of thing, and it's going to be stationary, sure, you got it. If you want to do 2 coasters in a row, and then you want to do a cutting board, you got to take it all apart and then put it back. I mean, you're going to have such a hassle where it's not fun. It's going to be like, you cut a few things and you're like, nah, this ain't it. Not going to be able to do that. So you're going to want this riser. It's like $150 I paid for it. Completely ridiculous. Unfortunately, it sucks. Like, it sucks paying for it, because what you're getting is you're getting two of these see-through laser safe panels, and then you're getting 4 sides. They don't stay together. They consistently fall apart. If you bump your laser printer, they will wobble like this. They're not secure. They're overpriced for the piece of plastic they are. However, there's no better alternative. So you're gonna need them, because they will make your life so much easier. You will also want the honeycomb part. You'll want this thing. This thing has holes in it, so everything you cut falls through. It vents it really, really good. You'll want this too. You will also want the air assist, because the air assist blows all those fumes away. You don't get like fumes on whatever you're cutting, whatever you're engraving. And if you're cutting like cardboard or paper, it's most likely not going to catch on fire, although sometimes it will. But you can blow it out real quick. So you also want that. And unfortunately, that does increase the price, but you're actually going to have a working, usable laser, because the way you buy it from the factory, just the laser, you're not going to be able to use it realistically. You can use it if you're trying to cut pieces of paper together. Sure, you want to cut a piece of cardboard, as long as it's not thick, sure, knock yourself out. But if that's all you're going to be doing, you might as well get like a plotter or a Cricut or something, because not worth it, if you ask me. If you're cutting like thousands and thousands of pieces of papers, or cutting out letters to, cutting out different sized letters to send someone a ransom letter, yeah, it'll do it. But if you want to have a laser you're going to enjoy, that's not going to cut it. And then we finally come to the part where I talk about the very much dreaded R4A, the tumbler engraver. And when I say R4A, I mean RA2, my bad. So this piece of technology has really made my life an utter nightmare, because this thing sucks so bad you have no idea. Comes with a nice instruction that teaches you nothing. Comes with a handful of tools that suck to install. And then you get this, I think it was like 250 bucks that I paid for this utter piece of junk. So you, in theory, should be able to laser engrave round things, circular things, as you can see by it spinning. I don't know what else you're going to want to engrave with this, but just be prepared for a huge headache like you've never had before, because this thing is extremely confusing. So to use this, you're going to need the bottom plate, and you're going to need the honeycomb part. Without it, I'm sure you could do it, but you're going to have such a headache that you're going to want to set your laser on fire, set the house on fire too, because it's a headache by itself. I can't imagine the headache without having that base plate. So you get this nice handy dandy ruler that you measure the circumference of the bottle or the whatever else you're going to want to engrave, and then you enter that number into the software, and then And then that's where the headaches start, because the software is not intuitive at all for cutting round things or engraving round things. And you're gonna play around with it for, I don't know, half an hour to try and engrave one tumbler. And then you're gonna leave it for, 20 minutes. And then you're gonna come back. And then when you look at it, you're gonna realize your design is backwards. I've engraved probably about 7 things with this, and I've had 2 come out just fine. The rest have either been backwards, upside down, the size was wrong. Like, again, we're gonna touch back to the square framing problem. So when you're laser engraving something flat, right, not a problem, you can see a square. What happens is you'll set your cup however you want it. You'll input everything. You'll have a line down the screen, and you put your design on one side of the line, and it will spin it. However, you get a box of roughly where it should be, where your design is going to land. That roughly is so rough. I've had, oh boy, so many things mess up where it's not even funny, where it looks right on the screen, and then when you engrave it, the design is crooked, or the design is upside down. There's just been so many design problems that it's such a headache to use. Every time I see something round that I want to get engraved, I grab the vinyl. I grab this vinyl. I grab this vinyl. I'll grab this vinyl. I'll grab this vinyl. Anything. Any vinyl I can to cut out straight, put on the tumbler, call it a day. If I have to clear coat it, fine. Trying to use this thing, nightmare. I've watched, I don't know, hours of instructions trying to figure out how the thing works, and I've had very little success. For example, I'm not going to go inside and grab my coffee mug where it says coffee upside down at an angle. That's not important. We have a cylinder here that was used with this RA2 machine. As you can see, it says Ano Toli. It's supposed to say Honda Pilot. How? I don't know, because I inversed it and then I flipped it, as you're supposed to per the instructions in this magical book over here. Instead, we have Honda Pilot backwards. So all I have to do is grab a mirror, right? Mount it with the mirror, so when I look in the mirror, I can see exactly what it says. Yeah, this thing, if it was worth what it is now, I'd sell it. And then just vinyl stickers. Vinyl stickers look exactly the same as the engraving this stuff does. So that is what this laser does not do well with at all. Doesn't do it great. Okay, and now we're coming to my favorite part of the laser engraver, which is the fact that it can cut vinyl. So this is one of the pieces they give you for cutting vinyl. It's just a sticky backplate, like a Cricut. And there is one more, it's like a pinker one. It's for cutting fabric, but Joanne's stuff won't stick to it, so I don't use it, and it's way too sticky for vinyl, so it's just lost somewhere. But this thing will cut vinyl beautifully if you can set it up. If you can set it up. So it will cut black vinyl, it will cut glow-in-the-dark vinyl, it will cut white vinyl, it will cut blue vinyl, it will cut shiny holographic vinyl, it will cut this iridescent vinyl, it will cut this textured vinyl, it'll cut any colors of the rainbow beautifully. However, just remember, it's not a Cricut, right? This is not a Cricut, this is an Xtool. So Cricut has, you know, settings. Set to medium. Okay. Open up Xtool, where's medium? Pick a pressure between 1 and 250. Pick a speed between 1 and 80. So when you're starting out, it's tricky. A little bit tricky. A tiny bit tricky. Especially when you don't know anything. Because when you're trying to cut something out, if your settings are too little, your vinyl is not going to come off. If your settings are too thick, you're going to have holes in your vinyl, which you can't use the vinyl sticker for. So it takes a while, about this big of a piece of paper to hone in, or a piece of vinyl, to hone in exactly what your settings should be. It takes a while, it's a little annoying, a little frustrating, but after you get your settings, I always just take the vinyl and stick it on my laser cutter so that way I can see what vinyl it is, and then just set the setting and go. Works beautifully, cuts vinyl. However, again, this is a machine that's not perfect 100% of the time, or not 100% perfect. If you're gonna cut vinyl, you wanna cut vinyl on the center to the left side. Don't know why. If you go to the right side, for some reason, the head can't put enough pressure on to cut. So anything I've put on the far right side, like letters or something, has been not 100% cut through. Like the settings are the same. It'll cut half of it or 2/3 of it just fine. When it gets to the right side, won't be able to cut. Which is what I've noticed with this particular machine. Not sure if it's just me or something, but it also, if you have the Air Assist kit, you can't cut vinyl at the same time. I mean, technically you can if you like having cut fingers. I don't, so I just take the kit off, because you can cut two at the same time, but then your fingers get in the way, and I don't like having bloody fingers trying to cut vinyl. It's no fun. So when you get your air module, you get a sticker that I just stuck mine on this head here that says, safety tips. Remove blade module when you are using the air assist set, or your hands may get hurt when fitting or removing the nozzle. So what that means is if you try and stick this thing here with that thing here, there's virtually no room and you'll stab yourself or you'll cut the hose. No fun. So when you're about to do some vinyl, I got stabbed there. When you're about to do the vinyl, all you gotta do, remove this hose. This is magnetic, so this part hops off. You take this thing, you stick it in the holder here, all the stuff you get when you buy the laser. Stick that there, bend the airline down, stick the airline over. Easier with two hands. You grab your little holder. This is magnetic. Here's your blade down here, where I marked my my little arrow here that I cut out with vinyl. You stick your cutter right like that. Magnetic. It's right here where my finger is. When you want to use this, you also have to remove this honeycomb part and use the actual base plate that comes with the X1 or the M1. My apologies. You got to use this. So you remove this honeycomb part. You stick this in its place, and as we can see, there are a few screw holes here. There's one here, and there's one way down here. I just keep the screws in a very safe location where I know exactly where they're at. I will put 3 screws in here to secure it. Clean this off with, I use Clorox wipes, but you can use like Windex or something, because you can see all the contamination from just laser cutting. All that will get onto your sticky pad. It'll get on this pad here on the back side. It won't be sticky, it'll move around, you can't cut it. The replacement one is like $12 a piece, so you want to keep that one nice and clean. You clean it with Clorox or Windex or something like that. Stick the thing on when it's up here, and then you're ready to go. You put it in the software that you're using the blade, and off you go. Super easy, super simple. And then when you're ready to laser cut again, you can either use this base or remove the 3 screws, put the honeycomb back on, take your blade out, put your air assist in where it snaps in where there's these 2 rings. It'll snap on the lens and you're good to go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So after using this laser for 75 hours of use, the laser partially with the vinyl cutter, I feel like this is a really good laser for beginners, hobbyists, people that like to tinker. Me especially, I love to tinker, so this has been awesome because I just love using the vinyl cutter. I've got vinyl stickers everywhere, even on the jet ski. I've got it on the car. I have them like everywhere. Beats like a label maker. You can do fun stickers, you can do lame stickers, whatever you want. Words, numbers, Roman numerals, whatever. The sky's the limit. So that's what I've been using the laser for. And the only downside that I found is just a few eccentricities with the software. And the RA2 thing, cutting round objects, yeah, that sucks. Downright sucks. But you can cut vinyl, you can slap vinyl stickers on instead of engraving it. Works just as fine, if not better. It is underpowered, quite underpowered. 10 watts, it's pretty good, but now that Xtool's coming out with their 40 watt diode, yeah, this is gonna be like left in the dust. But I still am enjoying it. I don't plan on upgrading to any other lasers soon because, well, I have this one, does everything I want it to. So I know this review is like all over the place, but in general, I'd recommend it. Just know that it's not a laser that can do everything 100% of the time. It can cut, it can do things, is good, but don't have your expectations up way too high going, oh, I'm gonna be able to cut metal. Nah, you're lucky if you can engrave metal. But yes, it can engrave metal. I bought these metal business cards with my name on it for when I was doing photography. It will engrave metal business cards. And you got to be careful when you're engraving metal. You got to set your settings right. If your settings are wrong, the metal will bend. So the laser, since it heats it up, you'll have like bent metal. So don't use it on super important things because it will bend.